right, welcome. Today we're going to talk about order of operations and evaluating expressions. So order of operations refers to the order in which mathematicians evaluate an expression with more than one mathematical operation. I use PEMDAS, which the acronym that I use to help me remember it is Please Excuse My Dear Aunt Sally. And the way that we do PEMDAS is the P stands for parentheses. Now that can also be brackets or absolute value. E stands for exponents and roots. So first we evaluate parentheses, then we go through and evaluate all the exponents or the roots. And then multiplication and division are equal in value. So with those, you work left to right, whichever one comes first. And then lastly, we do adding and subtracting from left to right, whichever comes first. So in this first problem, we have parentheses, so we're going to simplify that. So 2 plus 3 is 5. Now as we look, we have an exponent. So that is only on the 5, so we have 17 minus 25 divided by 5. And then we have division, which comes before subtraction. So 17 minus 5. And then lastly, we subtract. So in this problem, looking at our PEMDAS, we first do exponents, and then we subtract. Here we will do exponents. So everything in the parentheses is getting squared. So this is negative 6 times negative 6. So this minus is out front. Negative 6 times negative 6 is a positive 36. And we can also take care of this exponent. 4 squared is 16. So now we have adding and subtracting going on. So we just go from left to right. First, we'll subtract 15 minus 36. That would be negative 21. And now we have plus 16. And now we'll combine those. Negative 21 plus 16 is a negative 5. Just real quick like here with this negative 6 quantity squared. If you have negative 6 quantity squared, that means negative 6 times negative 6, which is a positive 36. But if you have negative 6 squared, like this without the parentheses, that means negative, and only the 6 is getting squared. And so that is a negative 36. So watch for both of these. All right, next problem. If we look through here, we have exponents, so we're going to take care of that first. 32 divided by 8 plus 6 divided by 12. All right, we have division right here, so we'll do that. That would be 4 plus 6 divided by 12. And now we have division here. 6 divided by 12, well, that's really 6 over 12, which is 1/2. So that would give us 4 1/2, or 4.5. Next problem, we have exponents. So negative 3 times negative 3 times negative 3 is a negative 27. And I'm putting parentheses around it just to keep the negative, keep track of that negative. Then times 2 minus 3. So now we do our division. We have division and multiplication, but we work from left to right. So 27 divided by negative 27 is a negative 1 times 2 minus 3. So now we do multiplication, negative 2 minus 3, and lastly that gives us a negative 5. All right, we'll look at this first one here. We have brackets and parentheses. So when this happens, we work on the inside-most parentheses first. So that would be 30 minus 21. 8 plus 13 is 21. And now we work on this set of brackets or parentheses. And that would be 9. And so we get 18. In the next problem, we'll have to simplify here. Now there's also exponents. So we have 2 times 24 minus 9 plus 1. And then the absolute value of 8 is just a positive 8. So 2 times 24, and inside the parentheses is 10 plus 8. Now we do multiplication. 48 minus 10 plus 8. Now adding and subtracting from left to right, whichever comes first. So subtract. 48 minus 10 is 38 plus 8 would equal 46. In this next one, wow, it looks like there's a lot going on, but right away I see parentheses, so I'll start there. And the absolute value of 5 is 5, and minus a minus is a positive, turns into a positive or a plus. And so that we have negative 3 times 2 minus 8. 5 plus 3 is 8. And now we have multiplication. Negative 3 times 2 is negative 6 minus 8. You have negative 14. And this next problem, we have 60 divided by 5. Here we have negative 6 squared, which is a negative 36 plus 6. And then this would be negative 3. Quantity squared would be a positive 9. So we have division here. So 60 divided by 5 is, so we'll first finish your parentheses. I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's negative 30 times 9. Now we have division and we have multiplication. So this would be 12 minus, that'd be negative 270. So that would be 12 plus 270, which would be 282. All right, when you're working with fractions, think of the content in the numerator and the denominator as each having parentheses around them. So thus you simplify each before you divide. So this is the same as if you had 8 plus 4 divided by 5 minus 2. So that would give you 12 in the numerator over 3, which is 4. This would be 12 divided by 3, which is 4. All right, what is the value of the expression for the given variable? So we need to substitute, and then we will simplify using PEMDAS. So a is equal to negative 4, and b is equal to 5. So we substitute that in. And now we use PEMDAS. So simplify the parentheses. And then we do the multiplication. And then we have 7. Next, we're going to simplify in a is a negative 2. So when you do that, you want to use parentheses around the negative 3 because whatever a is gets squared. So the negative would also get squared, so you need parentheses around it. And b is a negative 6. So this would be 9 minus 3 times a minus 6 would be a positive 18, and then we get 27. Here is one where we have the opposite of a squared. So negative, and then what is a? A is a negative 3, so parentheses around negative 3, minus b is a negative 6, and that's squared. So it's really important that you're careful how you substitute those values in so you don't lose any of your negatives. So now we square this, which would be 9, but that negative is out front. And we square this, which is 36, and the negative is out front. So that would give me a negative 45. Here we're going to write some expressions. You had $150, but you're spending $2 each day. Write an expression that models the situation. So you start with 150, and you're spending $2 for each day that goes by, 2 times the number of days that go by. How do you express 2 times the sum of a and b with an algebraic expression? So 2 times a sum. So the sum would be when you add a and b together, but you want 2 times the whole thing. So you write it like this: 2 times the quantity, a plus b. All right, some vocabulary word for you: terms. A term is an expression that is a number or a variable or the product of numbers and variables. Coefficient, that's the numeric part of a term. So like the 3, the 5, the 9, the 2, the -4, those would be the coefficients. A constant is just a term with no variable. So if there was like a +5 on the end here, no variable, that would be a constant. Like terms have to have the same variables raised to the same power. So here you have x squared and x squared. So these are like terms. These red numbers, y cubed z, y cubed z, these are like terms. And so to combine those, you add the coefficients. So 3x squared and 5x squared, you have 8x squareds. 9y cubed z minus 4y cubed z, you have 5y cubed z. And then you have a 2yz. See, you have a yz here, but you don't have the same exponents. This is supposed to be y cubed, or this is y cubed z. This is just a plain yz. And then 5, that's just hanging out at the end there. So combine like terms. This first example, 7x squared minus 4x squared is 3x squared. 3y squared plus 2y squared is 5y squared. When we combine like terms in the next one, we first will need to distribute to get rid of the parentheses. So this is like a -1 out front. So you have -3k minus m, distribute the 2 through, plus 2k minus 8m. And now we can combine your k terms. -3 plus 2 is -1k. Minus 1m minus 8m would be minus 9m. To find the surface area of the cylinder. Well, surface area is 2 pi r squared plus 2r pi r h. So what we need to do is substitute in the radius, this is our radius, and the height, and then simplify it. So surface area equals 2 pi. The radius is x plus 3 plus 2 pi. The radius is x plus 3, and the height is 5x. Looks like a lot, but this will be a fun one for us. So we have 2 pi times x plus 3 times x plus 3. That's what x plus 3 quantity squared means. And for this one, I'm going to use that commutative property. So 2 times 5 is 10, and then you have pi, and then you have the x, and then you have x plus 3. So I combine this and this, so I got 10 pi x times x plus 3. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just leave 2 pi out front, and I'm going to multiply or FOIL the x plus 3 times x plus 3. So x times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. And this 3 times x is 3x. So altogether you would have 6x plus 9. So x squared plus 3x is 6x plus 9. And then we have to distribute all of this through. So that would be 10 pi x squared plus 10 times 3 is 30 pi x. And we have to distribute one more time. So that would be 2 pi x. And 2 times 6 is 12 pi x. I forgot my squared right here. And then 18 pi. So x times x is x squared. So 2 pi x squared, 12 pi x, and 18 pi. Plus 10 pi x squared plus 30 pi x. Now we combine like terms. Pi x squared, pi x squared. So that's a 2 and a 10, so that would be 12 of those. And then pi x, that would be 12 and 30 is 42 pi x plus 18 pi. And that is the surface area of that figure. So that's kind of an abstract problem, but that really puts everything together that we've been talking about. Let me know if you have questions. Thanks for listening.